Hi, my name is Martin Gadet. I'm the inventor and the manufacturer of Falcon Strike, the world's best recoil pad. Now, how can we be so pompous as to say we have the world's best recoil pad? I'd like to show you. We invented a new form of shock absorber in the design and manufacture of machines that test airplane parts. A film of fluid caught between surfaces. And that's the same thing as what's going on in your knee. When the cartilage in your knee is forced closer to the other cartilage, the fluid that is between is forced to slide very quickly to get out of the road. Large surface, thin film. A very small motion causes a high speed of fluid, and that ratio of input to output is where the shock absorbing effect works or happens. We have patents that say, well, let's put more than one on top of the other. Sounds simple, but it's actually quite complicated to get it just right. What happens is you have the very high film density and the great stroke length, just like we have on the Falcon Strike. Now the Falcon Strike here, this recoil pad, we can go and get about 5/8 of an inch of free fluid travel inside the shock absorber. As we were looking around for practical uses for this new shock absorber, we quickly realized that the recoil reduction was a perfect application. Not only is the shock absorber self-compensating for different loads and velocities, it gives absolute shock absorbing. And as you well know, in shooting, you're either afraid of the gun or it hurts. And those two things in combination rob you of the precision and the fun of shooting. Personally, I love to shoot a lot. I like to shoot long distances, and both of those things drive the requirement for the highest skill possible. The shock absorber that's in the Falcon Strike not only reduces the peak force more than any rubber-only recoil pad. I'm not going to name names, but they're all pretty much the same. They all behave like rubber springs. Now what that means is when the gun goes off, sooner or later you're going to get all the energy and you're going to get thrown. The Falcon Strike removes 35% of the energy. It's as effective as a muzzle brake and then some at reducing the amount of energy transferred to you. That's important because by reducing the energy transmitted to you, you have less physical effort required to be back on point. You didn't get moved back as much. That's the practical part of it. You don't get blasted in the ear. If you put a muzzle brake, and believe me, muzzle brakes work exceedingly well. The Falcon Strike works better than muzzle brake, but you don't get snapped on the forehead with the shock wave. Anybody that's been sitting beside somebody at the shooting benches, that if somebody that's sitting beside you has a muzzle brake, you know that it's dangerous for your ears. If you've been out in the bush and the excitement of the hunt, nobody thinks of putting their earplugs in, and you come back 3 months after you got a trophy elk or something, and your buddy's ears are still ringing because you popped his eardrum. Those are bad things about muzzle brakes. They work exceedingly well. We can produce the same improvement and more with the Falcon Strike than we can with a muzzle brake. And you don't get snapped in the forehead with the shock wave. There's a big advantage to that. Not only is it smart to put the Falcon Strike on any big bore rifle and shotgun, but you can also use them in conjunction with muzzle brakes to get another 40% reduction in energy transmitted to you. The multiplying effect of having a muzzle brake and a Falcon Strike is even better. The most precise shooting you'll ever do is if the rifle or shotgun is well fitted to you and if you're comfortable. If you have no pain and no fear, you're going to be able to go and get the maximum precision and enjoyment out of what that firearm can do. With the Falcon Strike, there are 3 modes of operation that very specifically bring the most comfort, the most fear reduction. The first thing that happens is, so that when the gun is coming towards you, the first thing that happens is the fluid equalizes itself to your body. You don't wrap yourself around the gun. That's important. That's for comfort. Second thing that happens is the Falcon Strike will roll outwards like a frog's throat and go and get 12% more area than any of the rubber-only recoil pads. That's important for another reason, is that as the shock wave propagates, as the shock wave advances itself towards you, the flesh has 5 or 7 milliseconds more to get used to being displaced rather than wrapping your flesh around the corner of the stock. The third thing that happens is the shock absorber is going to remove 35% of the energy, which is equal to or better than a muzzle brake. So you've been disturbed less from your natural shooting position. You're closer to the next shot. Your mind is clear because you don't have the pain threshold met. Therefore, you're thinking sooner at the next shot. The next shot is more precise as well.